Welcome to SGA After Hours, episode 2, with our VPDP, Dylan.
Hello.
So, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great today. I've had a wonderful day today. We're laughing because we know that's a lie. It's finals week.
It is finals week on campus here at Point Park University, and we are struggling.
It's okay, though, because we're getting through it. I have many papers to write, but I can do it. I've written more papers than what I have left, so it's okay.
And that's the beauty of it all.
And that's the beauty of it all.
So, we are here in the Media Hub. Now you ask, what happened to the CMI? Well,
we love the CMI.
We love the CMI. We will be using it and the Media Hub, like, kind of counteractly. Interchangeably. Whatever is more accessible to us, just because sometimes things aren't as accessible as you need them to be. Especially when you're a college student.
And that's why we work with accessibility.
Exactly.
Because we're making that stuff accessible.
All right. So let's talk about, a couple different things. We're here to talk about you mostly. That's the most important part.
Me?
Yes, you.
That's the first.
So, Dylan, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your role as vice president.
Okay, I am Dillion Evan Reese Peterson. I am a senior community psychology major / grad student in the community psychology department. I am the 24-25 school years Student Government Association vice president. And in that role, I run all of our legislative body meetings and make all of the agendas for them. As well, I help Kyle just oversee everything and help run exec cab and help y'all with all of your little bits and bobs that we need. I make the committees and I help enforce like quorum and our general policies and things like that.
That's awesome. Tell me more about the difference between starting at the beginning of the year, your role, and now at the end of the first semester. Because I know when we interviewed Kyle, it was the beginning of the year, and now talking to you at the end of the year, end of the semester. How do you feel about your role and the work we've done in SGA?
Well, it started in the summer, which was mainly just like a lot of Kyle and I doing preparation for what our goals would be coming in. And then starting up, I was really nervous, like just trying to get into the swing of what it meant to like be in this position. And our main goal was at the very beginning of the semester was to pull in some freshmen and other like senators that like didn't run at the end of last year. So that was our main goal at the beginning, was to get some new senators and like have some retention with that. And we've done pretty well with that. And we have a pretty strong team of people that want to be involved. So now, towards the end, now that we're at the end of the semester in this grueling finals week, I feel a lot more comfortable with like where we're sitting as an organization, the connections we have, and the people that we are holding in our organization and their progress. And now we've focused more on our goals and have been working to get some things changed. So accessibility has been a big thing. Lots of different things I'm sure we'll get into, but at the end of this semester, it's been less focused on building the organization and more focused on what the organization can produce now.
Yeah, that's great. What do you think is like the key factor to the success of SGA right now this year?
The key factor, I think, has really been finding people that are holding interest in all of the areas that we need to cover. Holding space for their interest in all of the areas that we need. I think that a lot of our fear at the beginning came from being concerned that people wouldn't be interested in staying involved, but I think that hasn't been a problem at all, and I think that that's been like the building blocks of making everything that we've been able to do happen.
Yeah, that's awesome. What hasn't worked, do you think?
I think the thing that hasn't worked has been like a lot of scheduling. Unfortunately, I think it's really hard to schedule things, especially as a large group of people, which we are, as a whole organization. We are all very busy college students that most of us have jobs. And then exec members have this as a job. And then on top of that, we are all students, and most of our executive cabinet are grad students or seniors this year. So we are a very busy bunch. So I think that has been our main downfall with everything. And having, I think a lot of the issue as well is like we have a very limited time in this role.
Time.
Yeah. So I think it's kind of difficult to try and hone in your goals when you have a lot of big ideas. And that's been something we've been working on. And obviously, I think we've been doing a good job at staying focused on like some of our big goals, and we've made progress in the areas that we narrowed down. But time is always a constraint, I think, in this position.
Time? Where is it?
She's flying.
How
is it? How is it the end of the semester?
It's the end of the semester. Time is something that's like stressful. It's hard. It's a lot.
I know.
Everyone wants more of it.
I know. Like I'm like I can't sleep. I can't eat. I'm not promoting that. Cut that.
I don't co-sign that.
I don't co-sign that. But like, how am I supposed to sleep? How am I supposed to eat? Like I have 8 papers to write. Like, what am I doing? I'm freaking out.
I think that a lot of workload across majors is split up very intensely different.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of classes that you take should be like cut in half the workload. And meanwhile, classes that I take, I feel like we just don't have enough time to do all of it.
Yeah.
As a design student, I'm a graphic designer, by the way, if you didn't know that, now you do. A lot of my time spent on my projects, I wish I had more time to do it because I work and I do SGA and I do everything. So really what I'm here for, I feel like I don't have as much time to put my full everything into because of all the other things of life. And I feel like our courses don't reflect the time that we have as students.
I think it's complicated for my major because I think so much of what I do is like, not to be boring and annoying, but I do a lot of like reading. I read a lot of like dense theory and like have to turn that into like my own ideas and like write papers about them. And it's something I'm really like, I really love doing, and I wouldn't be here if I didn't love doing. But like, it's grueling, and it takes a lot of like brain power that drains out of you quick when you have to do a lot of it.
Yeah. So I know last year you were sworn in as a senator towards this time last year, right? Roughly around this time last year?
It was, I would have been joining during like around the time our freshman elections were. So when like early September, I think.
Okay, so you joined.
Yeah.
You
like
joined around
mid-September.
the beginning of last year.
Yeah, around the beginning of last year.
Will we be accepting more senators next semester, you think? Or
So the way that the elections work is that we'll hold another one at the end of like towards the end of the year when we are doing the election for the new like vice president and president. We also hold senator elections, and so everybody that wants to either maintain their senator status, y'all better be listening to me. If you want to maintain your senator status, you have to like run again and do the voting process again. Which is usually never a problem. And then anybody new that wants to join, which is like when you joined last year, when various other of our senators and some of our exec cab members joined, that would be that spring election that happens at the end of the year.
All right, cool. Well,
so if you're interested,
yeah,
look out for it.
Be on the lookout for SGA's, long process of senator elections.
And you want to run for president and vice president so bad.
What do you think? Do you think the person after you will be able to take what you've done and do something good with it? Do you have faith in that, or do you think no one can do what you've done?
I think that anybody will be able to take this on and make good with it. Like I said, a lot of our goals were making this organization able to be picked up and put it in a position that leaves it in a good spot, like a lot of good connections, making good progress, and doing some of those unspoken, like simple things that are actually like really impactful. And I think that handing somebody that maybe some of those unspoken things having been done might give an opportunity for more like spoken things to happen, you know what I mean, in the future.
I think I agree with that a lot. I think oftentimes a lot of like the thing with like leaving something behind that you've only done for a short amount of time, well, for you longer, for me shorter. This is more for my sake, I'm saying. I think for my sake, I think a lot of what I'm doing, I think I know that the way I do things are very particular, and I'm also a procrastinator.
I think you said that in the last podcast too.
Let's circle it back.
Let's bring it back. I'm a
I-
procrastinator.
And yes, I am at the end of the day. But I think that, but last year they procrastinated too. Much love.
I think that procrastination is part of all of this, and I also think that like
Yeah,
a lot
burnout.
of things, a lot of times things come across as procrastination when really a lot of things are more of a process than you would think that they are. Like one of the
Psych major over here
like,
analyzing me.
I'm not analyzing you. I'm analyzing the institution we go to. But like what I'm saying is we like one thing that was brought up recently by some of our standing senators was like bulletin boards, right? And you think that would be a very simple thing, like, oh, we'll talk to Sale who runs the bulletin boards and they'll put some up, but it's not that easy at all. When you go into like the actual process of it, we understand that there's reasons that they don't want certain bulletin boards in certain areas. We have to like contact physical plant and discuss with them about where we want bulletin boards, what type of bulletin boards, what size bulletin boards, and then we have to go through an approval process of whether or not that is a location that they'll allow to be a bulletin board before we can ever even like figure out who's paying for it, figuring out like exactly like where it's going to go and how it's going to sit and how it's going to get put up and who does it.
Yeah.
Like it's a way, I think things seem a lot of times, and I'm not saying that things aren't procrastinated because once again, I'm also a procrastinator, but that's
Who'd ever thought?
who'd have thought? But I think that a lot of times things are more intensive than behind the scenes than a lot of people like think that they are, which I think adds to the whole time constraint as well that we were talking about before.
Exactly. Time doesn't stop for you.
She doesn't stop, and she
that's-
doesn't stop for bulletin boards either.
No, but that's why procrastination feels so like on you because of the time.
Yeah.
But like you're right, it is more than that because like things happen, life happens, people go through serious things, and it pushes life off, and then
Yeah.
the time goes away, and you're like, well, where did all that time go?
Well, it's like I'll sit on our couch. You know this. I'll sit on our
we
couch.
know this.
I'll sit on our couch and I'll be like, I'm going to play Fallout for 45 minutes. And then it's been 10 hours. And I'm like, whoa, what happened? I had a final due. What happened just then?
What happened to that? But you were holding space for that self-care time.
Yes, I was holding space for the self-care that is playing Fallout 4. This is not an ad. Not an ad for Fallout 4. Their game's glitchy.
Yeah, it is. I don't play the game, but it does seem very glitchy.
But you watch me play for 10 hours a day.
I do. I sit on my couch like this. Boom, boom. Like that. That's what happens. Moving forward, so moving away from that very important SGA talks and
Yeah.
conversations that we love having
We
so
love
much,
student government.
I want to talk about you.
Me?
You.
Oof.
So what we're going to talk about, I want to start with, so the reason why we're so synced, I think not.
I'm not going to say what I'm thinking. I don't want to out either of us.
Who's being outed?
As what?
I don't know. Do you have an outie or any belly button?
It's today Trans Day of Remembrance.
I think that was 2 weeks ago.
No,
honey.
it was a while ago.
It was a while. It was November.
But every day is-
November 22nd.
Every day is Trans Day of Remembrance in our house. Anyways, we're synced.
I can't deal with you.
Why are we synced?
We're synced because of our stan culture backgrounds. We both grew up in stan culture, and it's very impactful.
Okay. That was out. I didn't think that was the outing that we were doing right now, but that's fine.
What do you want to talk? Do you want to talk about hormones, Mama?
No, I want to talk about Stan Twitter, please.
Okay, let's get back on track. So, what I was trying to say is that we're all synced. Everyone in our house is synced in one way or another.
Yeah, very true.
So,
But I think that like we had some unrestricted internet access, and
Very true.
and that led to us like finding communities and spaces that we didn't find in real life. And
Oh, yeah.
for you, that was doll Twitter, and for me, that was One Direction and Dan and Phil.
this is
This is what happens when we move away from SGA.
I know, but no, I want to talk about more how like growing up, doing like being a part of these communities, like how did it kind of form you?
Well, that's so interesting because my thesis question, for my final project is how does being a frequent user of digital media impact identity development? And I will have a formal long-term answer for you if you want to read my thesis at the end of next semester, allegedly. But I think it changed everything about my life. You know what I mean? Like, I would not be the same person. Like, I've made this very clear before. There is a connection between my Tumblr account and my septum piercing. And both those things mean they have a lot of gravity to me, you know? So I think that, like, obviously it, like, constructed everything about my life and who I am and the language that I learned and the communities that I found. Like, I would not be the same person.
Well, that's very very cool.
That's very cool and gorge.
I don't know. See, the thing Hunter struggles is that she struggles with moving on to the next question.
You need to work on your transition. Your segues.
My segues.
Should we do a segue tour of Pittsburgh?
How do you think about these things?
Because I said segue. That's how you segue, mama. So should we do it or not?
I think we should segue.
Let's segue.
Segueing to our next topic, which is our outings.
We just did those.
No, my question is how important is it to you being a trans male and being like having an important role?
Mama. I mean, like, it's my whole life, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like everything around me. It's like fundamentally shifted my personality, and like kind of like what we talked about, like, with the internet too, like doing all of those things. Like, they helped me find the language of what it meant to be a trans person, like, very young, which means like I have spent years like falling into this identity and like growing into it, and like, oh my god, if like 2014 Dylan could see this emo twink on this chair right now, he'd be gagging. like oh my god, like, that's amazing. I'm so Robbie from Gravity Falls, you know what I mean?
You really are. Wasn't that your Halloween costume one year?
Yeah,
like 2 years ago.
I don't know, I think, yeah,
you and Kyle did
our second Halloween that we were dating. We did that. So yeah, last, I don't know, no,
it was
sophomore.
It was one before we got COVID.
Sophomore year.
Yeah, sophomore year.
Not the one we had COVID. We had COVID for Halloween
last
2023.
Year. No, it was, having COVID during like an important time of a social event is horrible because you spend all that time building up to it, and then like you're like, oh. And
Kyle and I's anniversary is the 29th of October as well, so we missed that too. Like, our 2-year anniversary, we literally were in the house. Like, they made me breakfast in the morning. It was gorge. Like, that's what we did.
It was, yeah.
And then I was with all y'all because we were in our house on my anniversary. But that's okay. And then it was Halloween, and terrible times.
Horrible times.
But this Halloween, we made up for it.
Oh, we stepped up and showed out.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
We were Claire, my boyfriend and I, Kyle. I'm vice president. President
Who's
Kyle
not
McLaughlin.
single.
He isn't? Kyle McLaughlin, President Kyle McLaughlin, and I were Claire Edwards and Eli Goldsworthy from Degrassi.
Whatever it takes. We don't have the rights to that.
We don't have the rights. We don't have the rights. Bleep. Baby, there's a shocking. Not that one either. We don't have that one.
I was Dorothy. I was holding space with Dorothy this year.
You were handcrafted, Dorothy.
Handcrafted.
Yeah.
I'm a crafty girl. I made my costume the year before that I couldn't wear either.
You wore it. I took pictures.
I know. We went out on the streets.
It was like midnight.
It was, but I made sure I got that costume photograph of baby.
And it got a lot of likes.
It did.
You were taking it.
I was taking it.
And you're still clinging onto it for dear life because you posted it on Twitter not that long ago.
I did. No, I always bring it up.
You're like, we're holding space for this.
No, I didn't get to experience it, so I'm going to remind everyone that I was a Bratz fashion pixie.
Just wear it again.
I did. Remember for the SGA costume contest that I won?
Oh my god, you're so right. You won the bison.
I did.
If you join SGA, you could potentially win a bison in our costume contest, but it's too late now. Join later. Maybe it'll happen next year.
So this is a very important question, and it's a very stupid question, so be prepared. Who is a diva and who is a doll?
Can you rephrase the question?
The question I have is more around language and I guess like kind of like I don't know. The conversation I wanted to have with you specifically is kind of like the terminologies that get thrown around by cis people that come from like trans spaces. And I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of it, what I'm referring to when I wrote these questions a couple months ago, what was on my mind at the time was like a lot of times like a lot of cis people like to cling on to this language that a lot of queer people, black queer people use.
Did you rate this when Demure happened?
It wasn't really demure. A trans person said that, came up with that trend.
Yeah.
But I'm talking more about like, I guess like when a lot of like cis women love to use, a lot of gay men too, love to use the word doll. And I
Yeah.
think that that's very, like you can use a word. I'm not like gatekeeping a word. Like they
Right.
love to say, oh, you can't gatekeep a word. But it's the context behind those words.
It's like we can have like a long-term conversation about like queer language and it like being stolen and like adapted into like general culture. Like tea was used in if I remember correctly like the 80s and 90s like queer space in New York, and like that's
Yeah,
where that like rose to, and now it's like a very common term that like everybody uses.
it is.
But like that, it originated in like black queer culture in New York in like the 90s. And like that's fine. I also think like there's some positives to like that becoming a like a commonality in like language, and like as long as we're like recognizing those like histories. But I think a lot of times that's not what's happening, and I think that's where the concern comes in. Like you have to understand like what doll is in the context of queer spaces if you want to use it in like a queer conversation. You know what I mean?
I think that I think that drag queens and trans women can use that word as describers and identifiers as dolls, as
Yeah.
divas. I think, diva is just a diva. Anyone can be a diva.
Yeah, I think I could be a
But-
diva, but I could not be a doll.
I want to
No,
get online and
exactly.
read, bitch. You can't read the
Lot of-
doll.
Like, I don't know. I don't like. I
This is
don't.
too woke.
I'm too woke.
This is too woke for
I'm,
the podcast.
I'm being that one friend who's too woke right now.
No, you're not.
But I'm not too woke.
I know you're not too woke.
I just think I
Not
don't
for
know.
our house, mama.
I just think a lot of these like these things that like become like trendy or like words that become like popular. It's very strange how it like just I don't know. It like we know where it comes from, but like among the masses when it's used a certain way, it just kind of makes you feel annoyed.
I think it comes back to, like I said before, like understanding the context of the language that you're using. Because I think, we live in a world right now where the demonization of trans people is at like, I wouldn't say an all-time high, but it's at a high
up
for the
there.
past like decade, or at least of my life, and being
It's
out.
our
It's
Yeah.
at like I, without getting too dark and sad about it, like I have like experienced more transphobia and living here in a urban area, and like in our current era, I think because of like the demonization of trans people than I ever did. Not to say that I didn't deal with just plenty of transphobia in Ohio, but like we are cultivating, I wouldn't say we, but there's a group, there's a cultivation of culture that is like demonizing trans people right now. And I think that like if we're gonna use language that has like predominantly been like queer in its history, then we need to be acknowledging who's using it and whether or not they're recognizing where it's coming from, and whether or not they're using it in like appropriate ways.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is like centered around like intersectionality too. When it comes down to it,
Yeah.
people, I was talking to someone the other day about intersectionality and about how a lot of the times,
Was it at the event?
yes, it
Oh
was
my
at
God.
the poster event.
Yes, we went to the honors poster event and
Yes.
saw President McLaughlin and PPT Fornatero do their presentations on their capstone projects.
Yeah, I was speaking to someone about intersectionality and how it's very like it's used as like just a word. It's just thrown around,
Hmm.
but like
It's meaningful.
It's very meaningful, and it's more than just like the word.
Yeah. It's not just like a piece of language that doesn't come from somewhere. But also like, like obviously we're talking about it in the context of queer people, and obviously like that's very relevant to like our understandings and perspectives on life. But it's not just queer culture that's been stolen. It's not even predominantly queer culture that's been stolen throughout history. You know what I mean? So it's like this is not a new issue. This is not a new problem. It's just like another version of it.
Exactly. And I think in reality, we can't do anything about it.
We could talk about it.
We can bring awareness
Bother people
to
about it and tell them what the definition of doll is.
Anyways, how this came about was that I overheard someone say at a school event, and they were like, "Where are my dolls?" And I'm like, "No, I'm shutting this down because the only dolls that I see in this room right now, maybe 2 max at Point Park University. I
would not say 2 max.
I know there's more, but like I'm just saying, like in that room, in that space,
it's more just like who's using this language,
right?
You know,
when people use language that they want to use. But anyways, oh my god, let's talk about stan culture again because that's more fun.
Yes, okay.
So who are your it girls? Who are your it girls? Like who are your divas?
Like who are my like biggest fandoms or like
who do you which girls do you stan the most?
Okay, so like One Direction is like, well, okay, so not current, but like this is not current, but like Selena Gomez was probably my first like real like standing of anything or of anyone. I've kind of like fallen out of that. Still like gorge, like still love some of her things that she does. Selena Gomez in the Scene was that girl, my first concert. But like, you know, other than that, like my current it girls and like my long-term it girls, Dan and Phil. Love you, Dan and Phil. Forever and always in my heart. And then like One Direction are obviously that. I have Louis Tomlinson's logo tattooed behind my ear. He's my favorite right now.
Can you show us your tattoo?
Rest in peace, Liam Payne. Oh my God. Rest in peace, Liam Payne. When I tell you, I wrote down
Look at the camera when you say this.
Okay, I think it was, which committee was it? I think on the sick committee board, I wrote resurrect Liam Payne, and that is an order, okay? I'm being so for real. I want that on there. I want that never to be removed until it happens. Anyways, yes, I can show you my Louis Tomlinson tattoo.
Show us the tattoo.
Well, you want me to, I feel like we could just put it in.
Okay.
Wouldn't that be better?
Ding! Gorge.
But yeah, I also have a Dan and Phil tattoo. Well, it's a Phil tattoo.
A Phil Lester tattoo.
A Phil Lester tattoo. But I have more tattoos than that. But those are I do have Stan Twitter, Stan tattoos. Love that for me.
I love that for you too.
But like, I don't know. I guess those are obviously my main it girls. Shout out to Troye Sivan and Tyler Oakley. My back in the day it girls. It went Selena Gomez, Troye Sivan and Tyler Oakley / Connor Franta. We're not talking about that.
Did you see Twunk Connor Franta?
Did I?
Did you?
I follow intensely. I'm there. Maybe Connor's a current it girl, but that's different. It's not the same. There's like I love Connor Franta and like he's still my it girl, and then there's like I would brand Dan and Phil games into the back of my skull. You know what I mean? Like those are different things.
I get that. All right, well.
I have Dan and Phil Converse.
I know. I've seen them. I've seen them plenty of times.
I know. Do you want to see them again later?
Yeah.
Okay. Should we like put them in a box, like a glass box in the office?
No.
Okay, well, it's my office.
Well, actually,
it's our office.
It's our office, but it's Kyle's office.
No.
I'll shut it down.
We'll shut it down.
We'll shut it down.
And never mind. I'll tell you later.
Well, so I said 8 girls, and you said a bunch of men. So
I said Selena Gomez. I'm gay. I'm gay. Okay, 8 girls.
Yeah, like who? Like what? Who's singing?
Bethany Moda. Just kidding.
Girl, I'm talking about you. I'm talking about Fifth Harmony.
Okay,
Sabrina Carpenter, Camila Cabello.
Okay, well, Sabrina Carpenter. Listen, I didn't want to say Sabrina Carpenter because it's personal to me. It's personal, and I am not a gatekeeper. But I was there. Okay, I was there. She's been my diva for life. And I'm sorry, if you cannot recite me the words of Paris, give me your tickets. Give me your tickets to the show, girl. Because I'm mad. And this is why I didn't bring up Sabrina Carpenter.
Because it's personal.
But Fifth Harmony, like they were my girls too. And
Girls.
and Little Mix.
Little
Stop,
Mix.
stop, stop,
Stop.
stop singing that song. We don't have the rights.
Stop.
But like,
Exactly. It was
me
under 30
and my
seconds.
girl. But no, like Fifth Harmony and Little Mix, they were my girls too. Basically, Simon Cowell's company did have a death grip on me as a child, but like, hey, it wasn't about him. It was never about him. And
Never.
I think that him breaking his back is okay to say was funny on Twitter. But you should cut that. But like all of those groups just had a death grip on me. Like I really like I remember every drop. Like I was there. And when Little Mix recently like disbanded, I still cried. Was I ready? Well, yes, girl.
We were all ready.
We were all ready. But like I still loved Confetti. Just because she wasn't the best album, like just because she was no LM5 doesn't mean that I didn't love her. Like, come on. See, this is why I can't talk about my girls. They're like this. Like
They are.
it's different.
No, when you get into your stan list, it's very personal.
When I am tired of the Camila Cabello hate. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. Okay, I'm gonna say it here. Leave her be. Leave her be. She dropped bars. She dropped crazy bars. CXO came out, and y'all were like, yes! But you were bullying her 2 months ago. What's that about?
Because she was kind of doing she was doing a Charlie ripoff a little bit.
Okay.
It was a Brat ripoff,
Okay.
honestly.
And was it a Brat ripoff? Maybe. But was it gas? Yes. Okay.
Except for the Drake features.
Okay, that's true, but that's different. See, then we're going back to men. That's a different thing. That's a different category. Yeah, the Drake features were a flop. Brat. Okay, I will say Brat was a better album than CXO.
Facts.
But like CXO, obviously, like I was a Camila stan, and I am happy with her like coming back with like a new sound.
I thought CXO
If she cut the Drake features.
I think CXXO was fun. I do like that album a lot. I do think it was one of my like top 10 of the year.
Chanel No. 5 is so good.
It is. Chanel No. 5 is that song.
Hunter was gagging when we heard that.
No,
the first
I
time.
was.
You said, wait, wrist, spritz, spritz. No.
Make it come alive. But yeah, no.
Is it 30 seconds of each song? We could just make it us singing.
No, cut it. I really did like the album. I do, however, I don't know. She did have, every artist has their controversies, and I think hers are important.
Yeah.
We have to hold her accountable.
Well, I'm not saying accountability. That's very important.
That is.
That's very important. But calling her ugly is different. You know what I mean?
I never called her ugly.
Well, I'm not saying you did. I'm just saying like I love, one thing about me is I'm woke. Okay, I'll hold. I'm not gonna swear. I'll hold my people accountable.
I think what I want to say is thank you all for watching. Thank you, Dylan, for showing up. And when our host, our co-diva, our guest isn't feeling their best.
I'm not feeling my best, but that's okay.
Who is?
We made it through, and you made me talk about Dana Phil, so that's fine.
Dan or Phil?